الحمد لله ثم الحمد لله. الحمد لله تعالى نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. لك الحمد كله ولك الشكر كله على ما أنعمت وأوليت يا رب العالمين. اللهم كما أنعمت فأدم وزدنا من نعمك واجعلنا من الشاكرين. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق. فصل اللهم عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اهتدى بهديه واتبع سنته واقتفى أثره بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فيقول ربنا سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه العزيز في سورة الأنبياء حاكيا عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: وما أرسلناك إلا رحمة للعالمين. We have sent you but as a mercy for all the worlds. We do repeat this ayah, we memorize this ayah, we talk about this ayah many times. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam a gifted mercy. As in the hadith as well, the Prophet himself sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, إِنَّمَا أَنَا رَحْمَةٌ مُهْدَاتٌ. I'm not but as a gifted mercy. So Allah has gifted humanity Muhammad alayhi salatu wa sallam. And this mercy created a new civilization, never been known before, based on justice, based on truth, and balance between the soul and the body, and balance between duties and responsibilities, and balance between inward and outward. So when we read through his character sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, through his seerah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, through his message alayhi salatu wa salam, we see that the essence of the new civilization which he made alayhi salatu wa salam, inspired by the revelation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he made sallallahu alayhi wa sallam the pillars for this civilization, which I don't like to call it Islamic civilization, as if Islam is something alien from humanity. It's the new human civilization which the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam created. And reading his reality where he was operating sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in Jahiliyyah time, oppression, battles, killing, pride, arrogance, misunderstanding, no understanding, ignorance, you name it. And as well, they used to have values and good character. Of course, some of these practices which they have in the society and the community were out of justice and against justice, and this is why the Prophet ﷺ mentioned in the hadith which has been narrated in Musnad al-Bazzar, إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. I have been sent to perfect the good character. It means they used to have a good character, but his message was about perfection of the good character. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So amongst the very important pillars which he established first, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, were justice, adl. We have mentioned many times in different occasions many details about the application of justice. So he was, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, very keen on establishing justice because it's one of Allah's names, Al-Adl, the all just, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the opposite of this is oppression. And he was fully against oppression, any type of oppression, small, big, medium, any type of oppression, whether it's close relative or somebody who is a stranger or anyone else. So the Prophet ﷺ taught people these values and these pillars, and he was practicing them, alayhi salatu wassalam. The pillars of this very new civilization based on the divine, al-wahy, how to think, number one. The connection between us and Allah, the connection between us and the universe around us. The connection here is connection of subjugation. So Allah has created this universe to subjugate it to our service. It's not the opposite. We don't worship planets and stars and what have you. It's being subjugated to us. So he established this very fact that this relationship is the relationship of subjugation, taskhir, which we call in Arabic. And our relationship with Allah as well is the relationship of ibadah, obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and worshipping Allah. So how to think, what to worship, whom to worship, how to perform our ibadah, how to plan our future, the vision. He gave a vision to people. So people without vision, they are dead if they have no vision, oppressed if they have no vision. So he talked about the akhirah. Many people, unfortunately, especially now, it's increasing, not decreasing. The people deny the akhirah, the hereafter. So knowing that there is a hereafter, then your actions will be different. Knowing that accountability, if it wasn't in this very world, it will be definitely in the hereafter. Your actions will be different. So he gave vision, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to people, how to see through the obstacles, how to navigate your way to the akhirah. And then the formula of إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. It's ongoing formula with all prophets and messengers. And he confirmed this formula, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Those who believe and do good deeds. So he connected belief with action, not just an emotional feeling we have, I believe, but where are the actions? We can't see the actions. So he connected this together, these two together, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to enable people to act upon their iman, not just to live with whims and desires and hopes, to translate their emotions and their beliefs into actions. And this is what we might call it sometimes in the new terms, the activation of the code which you have. So if you have a code, you have to activate it. Otherwise it won't work. You cannot work properly without activation. So it's like that. We need to activate our iman in our actions. And the Prophet ﷺ, he gave hope for those who are hopeless and helpless. That no matter how weak you are, if you were to rely on Allah Azza wa Jal, He will find you a way out. He will facilitate for you. He will enable you to do things which you never thought that you will be able to do. So He gave hope. And He put a plug for the power of the oppressors. That no matter how strong you are, if you are going against the revelation, if you are going against justice, we will stop you. And we will put you into account. So there's no tribal facilitations anymore. There is no reliance on your might and your tribe and your community anymore. It's about whether you are delivering justice or otherwise. And this is how we see the values of justice and stopping oppression. We see this across the Quran, across the Sunnah. Whenever you read the Quran or the Sunnah, you see that always we have this concept of stopping oppression and promoting justice and telling the truth and refraining from lies. So these are the human values which the revelation wants to polish it and to perfect it. And this is why the Prophet ﷺ, in many occasions, in different wordings, in different narrations, he repeatedly says, ﷺ, أكمل المؤمنين إيمانا أحسنهم أخلاقا, or أحسنهم أخلاقا. The best amongst the believers in their belief are those who has the best character. Those who have the best character are the best in their belief. So to motivate people to connect their actions with their iman, their character with their iman. And this is how we balance between the inward and the outward. The inward is the iman, the outward is the action. Again, it's through the character, not just through hopes and claims. It's a real action reflecting the truth of your iman. So the Prophet ﷺ, he built amongst the companions in Medina and before that in Mecca these values and these principles, to act upon them, to live by them, to defend them, to protect them, to activate them. And this is why the civilization which he built, ﷺ, is different than the previous civilizations, which were built on oppression, heavily oppression. And the moment we started going against these principles, our civilization and our control went down, if we have any even. No control anymore, no civilization anymore. But nevertheless, when we reflect upon his seerah ﷺ, we see that the essence of his civilization ﷺ, which he made, which he created, based on these principles. And whenever we want to come back to lead and to activate our actions from our iman, then we need to polish up these principles to learn more about it. How do we see the universe? How do we read the Quran not just as a book of revelation and for barakah and reward, as a guidance for our life, as nourishment for our souls, as a book of practical actions in our life, not just a book for recitation and reward, which we need definitely, the reward. But nevertheless, the Quran is not just about reward. It's about how to make our life better. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So we see the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam made this in his reality. And he communicated this to his companions easily. And we see after him, those who led the way after the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his khulafa, the rightly guided Khalifs, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, they were role model. Learned under the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, understood his message, applied his message in the perfect form, radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So we need to teach ourselves more about rahmah which Allah has sent to us, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and how to make this rahmah, real mercy to all mankind through our actions. And I keep repeating this very narration many times. The Prophet ﷺ said, لا تكرهوا عبادة الله إلى عباده. Do not make the worship of Allah disliked to the worshippers. And I was reflecting many times on this very narration. What is the meaning of this narration? Why the Prophet ﷺ is telling his companions and the Ummah, do not make Islam an alien to the people. Do not make them hate Islam. Why he's saying this, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Because our actions are the reflections of our Islam. So people will not distinguish between your actions and Islam. If you are doing wrong and you are a Muslim, they will say, look, these are the Muslims. This is how their deen, their religion, telling them what to do, what not to do. This is why we have this mix of terrorism and Islam, and Islamic terrorism created new formula, which is completely wrong. It has nothing to do with Islam. It's just human behavior, regardless of Muslim or non-Muslim. So the Prophet was keen, alayhi salatu wasalam, to deliver the right message through the right channels, through the right actions, alayhi salatu wasalam. So we need to understand this, and we need to reflect upon his mercy in a practical term, not just theoretical term. And we can't do this without a deep understanding to his seerah, alayhi salatu wasalam. Forget about the seerah which talks about his battles, alayhi salatu wasalam. This is not the seerah. This is part of the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His seerah is 23 years. So the battles are, if I was to be generous, not more than 1 year in his life. Where are the 22 years? So all what we know about the seerah is the battles. Badr and Uhud and so on and so forth. Calm down, akhi. There are plenty to learn from the seerah apart from the battles. Yes? So 22 years has been lost from the seerah, if you want. Of course, there are plenty of other books not focusing on the battles of the Prophet ﷺ, or what we call al-ghazawat, and it's another topic to talk about later, inshallah. So, ghazawat is not the seerah. The seerah is his way of living, alayhi salatu wassalam. So we have around 22 years we need to learn about it. More than just 1 year to summarize the seerah in just 1 year. It isn't. So when we talk about the seerah, we talk about the Prophet as a human, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet as a husband, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Prophet as a companion. So he has companionship with as a friend. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a leader in his community, the Prophet as sallallahu alaihi wasallam a warrior, the Prophet as, and so on. So we talk about his seerah from different angles, not just as a warrior in the battlefield, alayhi salatu wassalam. No, this is very small part of his seerah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we need to learn more about his seerah, alayhi salatu wassalam. the concept of shura which he established. Consultation. So we need to do consultation, not dictatorship. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And there are plenty of other things we can discuss and talk about. But to summarize, this very civilization, the new civilization which the Prophet ﷺ created or made, it was based on principles. So we need to learn these principles, to discover more about these principles in order to come back and regain our veneration and regain our message and the rahmah which Allah has sent to us, to activate it again amongst us, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم فأعوذ بالله. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على النبي المصطفى وآله وصحبه ومن. Among the other things which the Prophet ﷺ established is how to accommodate our differences. No sane person reads the seerah and the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and cannot see that there are plenty of differences amongst the companions. In any human society, we have differences. So how did he accommodate these differences? This is another topic to tackle, to be honest. But again, this is so important to understand the prophetic way to accommodate our differences. If I disagree with you, I will not pray behind you next day. I can assure you, some people are like this. I witness this sometimes. If they disagree with you, not on a matter of aqidah, yes? Matter of fiqh issues, political issues, you name it. Disagree with you, he will not pray behind you. To that extent, yes. If he didn't issue takfir against you, you will be lucky. We have this extreme mentality sometimes. Alhamdulillah, it's not that much. But we have this mentality. So we need to learn how to accommodate our differences. Not to complicate issues or not to make issues difficult to accommodate. So if we look at his seerah, alayhi salatu wassalam, he was accommodating differences amongst the companions and teaching them how to live with their differences so long these differences are within the boundaries, not outside the boundaries, of course. So we have this tolerance of different opinions. So who says that the Hanafi school is Islam? And who says that the Shafi'i school is Islam? And who says that the Maliki or the Hanbali school is Islam? No one, no sane person will say this. But unfortunately, we have some people considering that their school is Islam. Any other school is outside Islam. I have to fight it. Completely wrong. All schools are from Islam, but they are not Islam, i.e. summarizing Islam in these schools. So we need to understand that we can live with our differences, and we have to live with our differences as long as it's inside the boundaries, not outside the boundaries. So if we were to deal with each other with this animosity, then we are destroying, and we are already destroyed plenty of our strengths because of this mentality amongst us. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to enable us to have deeper understanding and softer hearts and bigger minds to understand these differences and make us, inshallah, one ummah again united. اللهم يا رب يا رحمن يا بديع السماوات والأرض يا ذا الجلال والإكرام اللهم نسألك أن تعز أمة محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم أعد لهذه الأمة عزتها وكرامتها يا رب العالمين اللهم اجعلنا قادة للأمم يا رب العالمين كما ذكرت في كتابك يا الله كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس أعد لهذه الأمة خيريتها يا رب العالمين بالرجوع إلى كتابك وسنة نبيك صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم علمنا سيرة نبيك صلى الله عليه وسلم واجعلنا ممن يحيون سنته صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم أحينا على سنته وأمتنا على سنته واحشرنا في زمرته يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك يا الله يا الله أن تجعل حبك وحب نبيك صلى الله عليه وسلم في قلوبنا أشد من حب أي شيء يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك يا الله يا الله يا الله أن تحفظنا من الفتن، وأن تحفظ ذرياتنا وأزواجنا ووالدينا وأحبابنا من الفتن ما ظهر منها وما بطن. اللهم وسع أرزاقنا وارزقنا حلالا طيبا واستعملنا صالحا، وف الدين عن المدينين، فرج الكرب عن المكروبين. اللهم انتصر للمظلومين يا رب العالمين. اللهم انتصر للمظلومين يا رب العالمين. عليك بالظالمين فإنهم لا يجزون. اللهم إنا نسألك أن تتقبل منا صالح الأعمال واغفر لنا السيئات والذنوب والمعاصي يا رب العالمين. صلي وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين.